Hi, I'm Natasha Josie, and this is the Being Body Podcast, brought to you by House Ltd. This podcast pulsates amongst creatives and thinkers who are seeking inspiration and purpose in life and are willing to engage and listen, who are perceptive, reflective, sensitive, and critical. We believe that sharing experiences has a unique way to make sense of human suffering, and it is through sharing that we heal, connect, and create. My guest today is an artist, an entrepreneur, and educator, Alina Akbar. Alina is currently based in Islamabad, where she's running her own studio by the name of Lion Green. She's also teaching at National College of Arts, Rawalpindi, and School of Art, Design, and Architecture, NUST, in Islamabad. Alina and I talk about self-love, how to cleanse your mind, and ways to heal from past trauma. We also reflect upon the challenges and ways to navigate through life as a young woman in Pakistan. So let's get to my wonderful chat with Alina Akbar. So I would just want to ask you the first sort of question. What is it that you do? Or how do you think, could you talk about what you do as Alina?
So, what I do, I absorb a lot.
Okay.
I observe a lot. I accumulate a lot. It doesn't mean that I'm a hoarder. It's just that I find each and every opportunity in my life to just, absorb as much as I can. I mean, the very few things that I like about myself, I mean, not completely putting myself in the list of those narcissistic creatives in the world, which is, I don't think it's a bad idea to be a narcissistic individual, but, putting myself into that wagon of passengers who are loving themselves, who are on the journey of self-love. I think I'm on a journey of loving myself after a very long time in my life. After accepting all the flaws, after letting go of all the traumatic memories in my life, after finally letting go of those leashes which were holding me back. And in that journey, during that journey, I learned and I've started practicing of how to let go of so many things which were toxic for me. And I realized in my creative process also that whatever I'd been doing till my master's program, which I graduated in 2019 from in Studio Arts, there was an experience in itself. When I came back, when I returned back to Pakistan, there were multiple transitions in my life. I got married. I had a beautiful start to a new journey. I met so many amazing people in life, and with the advent of new relationships and new ideas and concepts in my life, I realized that I lacked this ability of loving myself. Prioritizing myself, and that is what I was searching in my art also as an artist. I'm a visual artist. I practiced as a miniature artist previously. Then in my later practices, I moved more towards studio practices, more towards drawing, more towards illustrative practices. And I've had my share in different genres. I've done art direction. I've assisted in curatorial projects. I've traveled a lot with art collaborators and other creatives. I mean, whatever you could think about, I've had my dip in those ponds.
Right.
And I consider myself extremely lucky to be associated with so many interesting and inspirational people in our circle, in this circle, the creative circle I've been a part of abroad. But since the last 2 years, I realized that I've practiced being motionless, in a way, staying at a position, staying stationary. Being at a point, focusing on just one thing, focusing on the now, and not and detaching myself from things that creating anxiety, detaching myself from things that are making me anxious about constantly living up to other people's hopes and
Hmm.
expectations.
Hmm.
And one thing I think a lot of people in our field have experienced, especially if we talk about art and art and culture, that is, there's this weird sense of a competition or a race that we all are part of.
Hmm.
I mean, one way or the other, we are projected towards this race where we have to constantly prove ourselves and constantly exhibit ourselves, constantly be on the surface, constantly be, you know, opinionated about everything in life,
Hmm.
you know. And in the middle of all of that, you begin to lose your sense. I felt that.
Hmm.
And one of the advantages, I'd say, of this pandemic or this isolation or the pause that we all had to experience together was that it gave me this sense of relief from detaching myself from those uh,
Hmm.
over anxious, over ambitious ideas that I was holding on to.
Hmm.
That before I turn 30, or before the end of this year, I have to achieve this, I have to achieve that. And there's this goal that I have to reach by the end of this week. There's something I have to prove or exhibit or work forward towards,
Hmm.
neglecting my health, neglecting those little beautiful commitments that I would ignore and I
Hmm.
would run away from.
Yeah.
Even if it's just going out for a walk in a new park that has been opened, few
Yeah.
days ago. Just these little pleasures. So I'm practicing, and I'm in the process of um incorporating this sense of freedom in my work also.
Hmm.
And so my work is all it's based on lines and contours and fluidity of thought, and very unrehearsed writings and unrehearsed line work. And I my work is monochromatic. It does
Hmm.
not involve a lot of colors, which doesn't mean that I'm a very sad or morbid soul. Not
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. We
It's
know
just that
that you're not.
it's just that sometimes I connect with the colors. Sometimes I just feel like, I'm made up of all the neon outbursts of colors in this world or universe. And
Hmm.
sometimes I just feel like I'm a beautiful amalgamation of black and whites. So
Hmm.
it depends. We keep evolving, we keep changing. And
Hmm.
I keep experimenting. I love exploring different parts of my creative faculty. Sometimes I'd like
Hmm.
to draw 20 drawings a day. Sometimes I just want to
Hmm.
sit on my chair and do nothing.
Hmm.
And that's the
To
beauty
just
of it.
be. Hmm.
Just sit there. Stop being apologetic about yourself.
Hmm.
I had this very bad habit of being apologetic for everything in life.
Hmm.
फलाना नहीं हुआ तो हो, मेरी ही
Right.
गलती है. This entire culture of blaming yourself first and then
Hmm.
realizing there are other factors in the environment, in the society around you, that cause this sort of negative attitude.
Right.
And we constantly blame ourselves.
Yeah.
I should have done this. Uh, I should have thought about the discipline. I should have thought about the time. I should have been punctual. I should have prepared before. It's all
Right.
bullshit. It's all
Right.
bullshit.
Right.
It's textbook. It's textbook quotation. It's just being academic all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Then where's the freedom to the soul? Where's that joy? Where's that dance and rhythm to
Hmm.
art? So I'm currently enjoying being free. I'm currently enjoying uh, being at rest, you know,
Hmm.
enjoying the stillness. And then there are moments where I'm super hyper, super active, and I enjoy going to the studio every day, which
Yeah.
has been which has been a very sacred part of my routine. Even if I have nothing to do, it's just like gracing your studio space with your presence and your energy, and just being extremely grateful for that.
Right.
So I think that's a very elaborate introduction to what I do and who I
Ah,
am.
I loved it.
But
I loved
I
it.
if I'm hearing myself also.
Hmm.
It's like, wow, Alina, किधर से कहाँ से निकला? Because you don't talk about these things on a daily basis,
Yeah.
do you?
Yeah. We don't really think about what do I do? We don't really understand. There is a certain sense of, and especially I think for women, and I would like to ask you that question as well. Well, there's so
Mm.
many questions that I have in mind right now. So I'll think I'll go, dive into each of them, and ask you, like, as women, I think more than ever, and working professionals, there is this expectation, as you said, of like being apologetic, or this pressure of having all of your shit together and really, being in control of
Mm.
your surroundings, and that can really have an element of toxic pressure over you, hovering, that you're not really understanding yourself or what you're doing, and you lose that clarity. But
Mm.
you mentioned that you were able to detach yourself, and I think that is something that I would really want like to ask you, for for myself as well, as an anxious person.
Mm.
How were you able to, like, if you could just walk me through, like, how were you able to detach yourself, or find that sort of a space where you could distance yourself from what's happening around you, and just be introspective? Because I mean, COVID has brought this space for each one of us, that we are now, we sort of were forced or shoved into a space of isolation, and not everybody has been able to come out of it in the
Mm.
same way as you are saying. A lot of
Mm.
people are still struggling and are a little lost and not sure where to go ahead from here, or where were they, like they really haven't found that place. But I think that, how you having found that, if you could just talk a little bit about, what you went through, or your journey of finding this
Mm.
space for yourself of love and rest and stillness and enjoyment.
Mm. So throughout this process, I mean, I clearly remember the day when I took this impulsive decision of uh, detaching myself,
Hmm.
was when I realized that I was overburdened and I was extremely uh, overweighted by this pressure of social media in my life.
Hmm.
And I constantly had this like I would have consistent conversations with my husband and with my family. Yeah, I'm going to deactivate my Instagram for some time. I'm going to let go of the Snapchat or Facebook, and just delete WhatsApp for some time, get back to those old school phones. And I just don't want to be in the smartphone, smart digital world anymore. I
Hmm.
mean, all my life I felt like I've been born in a wrong era. I mean, when you
Hmm.
look at when I would look at old and classic things, and things that belonged to the 60s or 70s, the hippies or the retros and all of those things, the jazz, and
Hmm.
how the world was 40, 50 years ago. And when you hear all the beautiful stories from your grandparents or people who have seen that beautiful world, where
Hmm.
the chaos was, there was a different kind of chaos, but it wasn't as life threatening as it is now.
Hmm.
So I've always had this feeling, that I sometimes don't match up with the pace the world is moving forward with.
Hmm.
And I mean, that doesn't really mean that I'm not able to uh, sort of continue or manage my social media life or social media identity and present myself and project myself as an artist to the world outside, make a website and make a profile online, and
Hmm.
maintain it all the time, and look at the algorithms and look at the page layouts and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I was so engrossed in all of those things for so many years, even during my academic years, post academic years, my work, my professional years. And then I realized this, what I show on the social media, what I see on the social media is not what reality is all about.
Hmm.
I mean, we tweak, we edit, we rehearse, we change the facades, we change so many things, we put so many filters, and what is it?
Hmm.
It was just a very impulsive, instantaneous reaction that
Hmm.
I just quickly I deleted everything from my phone, and I was like, okay, I'll just give myself a month, not being over ambitious and saying, "Nee, I will never get back to the social
Right.
media again." Just like giving yourself a challenge, now, because we're trained to take up challenges in our field, in our professional field, as women also. We're
Hmm.
constantly being centered towards different patriarchal situations where, acha, we'll see if you can do this or not.
Right.
We will see if you are able
Right.
to do this or not. oh, you will not be able to do this. So just to, we are already being victimized, we're already being a part of those things. So how about just take up another challenge and just remove yourself from from the scrutiny or from the observation or the audience that you have for some time, and give yourself some time, it's okay. The fear of missing out, it does exist, but it's okay to just be with yourself. So what I did was, I don't know if it's going to help those who are listening to this or not, just deactivate yourself for a week or for 2 weeks, for however many days you could manage. If you don't have any commitments to show online, or if you don't have any collaborations or whatever. And then what I realized was that I really need to charge my spiritual self. I want to educate myself. I want to also touch at least with the surface of it, see what it feels like, start my day with gratitude, and give positive and happy affirmations to yourself, to myself. I mean, not seeking any compliments or not seeking approval from people around me, just seeking approval or just admiring myself, the daily admiration. And then I started realizing that, oh, I'm interested in chopping my hair off back to shorter length, and I enjoy wearing monochromatic clothes. And being a woman, being a married woman, obviously we have these expectations that, oh gee, you are married now, so you're supposed to carry this certain persona, this certain appearance, lambe baal, all the time. You have to be presentable, wear branded clothes, or be as feminine or poised as possible.
Right.
Because you are sort of a representation of something.
Right.
And in the process of that, you sort of lose the representation of yourself.
Very nice.
And this journey was assisted, and it was guided to me by my husband. I'm so grateful to him that he trusted me, and he opened ways of exploration for my being, because he has witnessed me, he has heard me, he has been a part of my therapeutic journey, and he has been a part of my treatment. He has given me space, he has given me uh, uh, the openness to just be me. And then I took the liberty and I chopped my hair. I decided, nahi yaar, I'm not going to wear embroidered clothes. I just want to sort of subtract all the elements that I don't love, that I don't feel belong to me. And I started wearing monochromatic colors, and then I started experimenting with my with the way I carried myself. Then I would look around myself. I'd put flowers around me. I'd look at different plants around me. I'd cook different things. It's not like I never used to do those things before, but I did those things for myself, for my being.
Right.
I mean, things that we would take up for granted, कि अच्छा, okay, I'll do that later. Oh, I know I can do it, but I'll do it later. Abhi, right now, I just have to work on this project. I have to work on this concept, on this idea. No. You don't know what is going to happen the next hour of your life. And so that's what happened with me. I mean, I realized the importance of being still, the importance of connecting with your creator, connecting with the spiritual self. Even you may have different forms of meditation. My form of meditation was just, uh, opening a book, having a nice warm cup of green tea, or going to my studio space, looking around, looking at my walls, looking at my old work, my archives, and going through my photos, going through the books that I have, and just recollecting and reabsorbing and unlearning and then learning again. That's where I felt, I'm in charge of myself. I have all the power to do whatever I can. I'm not a part of the race. And
That's beautiful.
and uh, I, I don't work under the label कि अच्छा आप खातून हैं तो आप ये नहीं कर सकती. आप क्यों why is there an identification of my gender more important than the identification of my being? So that's how I did it. That's how it, and it always helped me out. Starting my day off with affirmation, giving yourself a very nice compliment, getting ready for your, even if you have nothing to do in your life that day, even if you have no one to meet, just get ready for yourself. Take a nice long shower and get ready, put nice perfume and grab a nice book, go out for a walk, go out for a drive, and just explore something. Even if it's just even if it's just arranging your wardrobe, do something. Just look good to yourself. You feel good, and that's what I started doing, because I never used to get out of sweatpants and sweatshirts. Honestly speaking, I spent so many years of my life just wearing t-shirts and jeans and just sort of trying to adjust in the patriarchal society, wearing loose shirts and oversized things so that I'm not in any observation, in any scrutiny. कोई nazar mein na aa jaye aur ye wo, always shielding yourself physically. But I realize I enjoy looking good to myself. And if I'm glorifying myself, for me, there's nothing wrong in that. If I'm complimenting myself every day, there's nothing wrong in that. I'm not being narcissistic. I'm just loving myself. I mean, I've been through so much. I've seen so many things. I've given so much. I've taken so much. I mean, I should give credit to myself. I have to take care of myself. Only then I'll be able to take care of my loved ones around me.
I completely I think this is very beautiful thought to and also very simple, and I think a very basic human right to claim your own at least physical and mental space, and to allow yourself to just observe and to think about things that you like. And I really liked when you said that there is a lot of content available, and there's a lot of stuff that's been talking that we hear about mindful living, but I really like how you talk about these very basic things that are very relatable and doable, but there is a certain mindfulness to it, and knowing and thinking and doing while thinking of what you're doing. And I
Yes.
also really appreciate that you talked about your relationship and your husband, and how that had such an important influence and an impact in your journey. And I do feel that, so I would like to know regarding, it feels like you found a new, not necessarily physical, but new mental home for yourself. Like you are in a new home and a new place of belonging, or a new place where you belong in your life, or you see yourself belonging in your life. And would you like to talk a little bit about where is home for you now?
I realized that I've always had this home within me. I never visited that home because the road to it was so claustrophobic. It was always so crowded that I would always deviate towards other paths. You see, you may say, I was, we all have been in this journey where we are influenced madly by our social circles, we're influenced madly by people around us, and we somehow want to adopt the part of their personalities and become like them. We idealize so many things from so many people, from so many personalities, but we don't personalize those idealizations. We just want to be like them. We don't realize what our body is capable of, what our soul is capable of. Maybe I could become something or someone better than that idealization or that particular icon that I have in my mind. So my mental home is my surrounding, my space, my creative space around me. My mental home is where I feel that I'm available for myself. If I feel like eating something, if I feel like ordering something online, I would not have to think 10 times about it. I just do it. I do that for someone I love, so why not for myself? And so the mental space is where I am unapologetic, where I am taking my time. I'm soaking up all my time. I'm not thinking about setting all those set goals for the next decade or for the next 5 years, or where I need to put myself in the next, I don't know, futuristic idea that people often tend to create. And just being there, just experiencing the present moment. Because recently I've experienced this huge loss in my life of this beautiful man, who happens to be my father-in-law. He was my friend. He was my encyclopedia, my confidant, my uh, most loved human being, one of the most loved human beings in my life. And I've had such beautiful memories with him, where he would just, while sitting with him, while being with him, he would take you on a world tour. You would, if you'd start, if I'd sit with him, I'm like, Abu, okay, have you been to this place? Have you been to Japan? Have you been to Vietnam? He's like, yes, I've been there. And then he'd start talking about the food. He'd start talking about the culture and the beautiful narration and the beautiful elaboration. His very exotic way of storytelling would actually give you all those sensual pleasures. I'd start, my mouth would start watering of all the flavors. I start imagining, it would activate my creative faculties. I'd start imagining people walking around me in Japanese attire, and uh, of any background he would talk about. And he was a man of content. He was a man of composure, of calm, and he had such beautiful weight to his personality that when I would sit with him, I'd realize the gravity of life, the gravity of spiritual self. And I'm so grateful to have met him, to be a part of his journey. And he taught me the beauty of stillness. He taught me that wherever you are in your life, wherever you are in this world, you can create a beautiful mental home there, in that instance, in that moment. It's not like if you're traveling somewhere, if you're going out of your room or your sacred personal space, you're leaving your mental home. No, you carry it with you all the time. So and me being a social animal, I had a very active social life. I'd host get-togethers, and I'd meet friends, and I enjoyed being in presence of people. But since this COVID pandemic happened, and you're bound to be at home, it never felt like I was isolated. It felt like I was liberated, because I had such beautiful time with him these last 2 years that I've spent. I mean, it would tomorrow is the second anniversary of my wedding, and I've had beautiful a year and a half with my father-in-law. We just, in the evening, and when I'd come back from my studio or whatever daily commitments I had, I'd just sit with him in the lounge and we just put on some random channel or on TV, and we'd start talking about the most unexpected things. कि अब्बू पकोड़े किसने इजाद किए हैं? I mean, अच्छा, tell me, Babu, अच्छा, have you been there? Have you seen that thing? अच्छा, वो nut cracker कहाँ से आया था? वो आपने फलाना nail cutter किधर से लेके आए थे?
Right.
And then he would delve into the history of a very ordinary object, and it would take you to beautiful imaginations. He would, and then there would be beautiful long pauses. I mean, the beauty of being in someone's company and where you enjoy the quality and the meaningfulness of the conversation is when you enjoy the pauses also. You're not being agitated, or you're not being restless about things, about that pause, about the silence. And I loved that. I'd spend hours sitting with him, and उसी टाइम पे हम खाना भी खा रहे हैं, चाय भी पी रहे हैं, मीठा भी खा रहे हैं, टीवी भी देख रहे हैं, बैठे हैं. And then those beautiful evenings would end up with a beautiful good night.
Right.
So these are the things that assisted me that helped me and enlightened me to create my mental home. And I wish and pray every human being on this planet to at least encounter one person in their lives who could teach them the meaning of stillness in life, teach them the beauty of being at the um, moment of pause. Because there's crowd everywhere, there's noise everywhere, there's rush and chaos everywhere. I mean, you're lucky if you find a little nook or corner where you can just close your eyes and feel silent. And there's nothing wrong in that. So that's my mental home. My mental home is within me. I take it with me anywhere I go.
Yeah,
So
there's definitely a certain sense of being empowered. And
yes,
I'm definitely seeing that in your journey, in people that you've met, the relationships that you've had that
yes,
have nurtured you and empowered you, and which I think is a gift, and especially in the times that we're living right now, where there's so much uncertainty at large.
it's a
Um,
blessing, and we don't usually talk about these things normally in the interviews or the
yeah,
conversations. We don't highlight or we don't express our gratitude towards these relationships. I
yet.
mean, these two beautiful relationships have actually empowered me a lot.
Mm,
When I had short hair, when I chopped my hair, you know how impulsive I get with my hairstyles.
yeah,
So when I chopped my hair, I went downstairs and I told my father, and I was like, Abu, tell me, मैं कैसी लग रही हूँ?
yeah.
And he had a sparkle in his eyes and he's like, बहुत आला.
One,
And
very
you know
nice.
that
Yeah.
moment, and that's exactly what my husband did. He
Mm,
enjoyed it, and that's what my father did also. So these men in my life,
mm,
they had given me so much joy, and they have trusted in me, and they have empowered me, and which is a big blessing. And it does not really happen to you as it is. You have to put in effort. You have to also give them the space to be just be you.
mm,
I uh, uh, I, I I've spent time with them. I still spend time, and I listen, and I try my best to accommodate as much as I can.
right.
With my silly sense of humor, with my silly hyperactive nature, and being senseless sometimes, and being silly about ideas of how acha aaj ka kya plan hai, acha kal ka kya plan hai, and
Hmm.
just adding that little joy and spark. So
Yeah.
it's always a two-way journey, and in the middle, in somewhere in that journey, somewhere along, you find so many beautiful answers to all those questions you've never thought about asking,
Mm,
because we are always encouraged not to question, sadly.
sadly.
uh,
Yeah.
in terms of cultural relevances, in terms of religion, or societal or socio-political aspects, we just अच्छा बस ठीक है ना, वो किताब में लिखा हुआ था, ठीक है, don't ask about it. What's the point of asking about it? Just live your life. So just killing the curiosity in a person, because we all have that kid who constantly asks questions.
Mm,
And we've become so restless and impatient that we don't want to listen to those questions and answer them.
mm,
So that's really important. Allow the curiosity to get out from you. That's really important.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely see that in in the surroundings that you're talking about, and how they've
Mm.
had such an empowering effect on you,
Mm.
and made these men that you're talking about, that have made you a better person, a better woman,
Yes.
um a more empowered woman, as an empowered person, as an empowered being,
Yes.
to have that sort of intention and space to grow.
Mm.
Has there ever been a moment in your life or your art practice or work, in your body alone, that you felt powerless, that you felt that someone took away your power?
Yes. Many times. I think those were the things that caused uh, stress, trauma, and this sense of inability. I'm not able to do this, I'm not able to do that. And it always stemmed from this fear of not catching up, not to my expectations, but to the expectations of people around me, to the agencies around me. Oh, I was, I could have been a part of that group show. I could have been a part of that thing. I could have, had I been there in that get together, had I been there to that party, I could have been there. I could have, this could have, would have, should have, these things, they were so toxic that I started analyzing my potential and my art and my creative sensibilities on this on the compass of other people's expectations. You see, what that Flana curator would think about it, what that gallery owner would think about it, or that publicist or that journalist or that art director, or you name those backgrounds, you name those professionals. And eventually I felt like I don't have the power over my work, over my senses any longer. What am I doing? Who am I proving these things to? If I'm not enjoying those my own abilities, my skill, my talent, my genius, why am I doing this? My mother has worked so hard on me, my father has worked so hard on me, my all the people who have contributed in my life, they've worked hard on making become a good person of who I am. I have worked so hard to be where I am right now. Why the hell am I constantly proving myself? I'm capable of this. I'm capable of, I have to show that I can do this and I can do that. And the amount of comments and the amount of likes and the amount of, attention that I'd get. Why do I need those things? And the moment where I felt like I don't have power was the moment where I sort of impulsively took this decision that no, I am in charge of myself, my being, my life. Nobody is going to take control of it. Nobody can. And I need to improve my life. I don't deserve this. And it all began with just a simple realization that I need to be there for Alina. I need to listen to Alina. I need to know what she wants. And the moment I took myself out from my body, I was standing outside of my body, metaphorically speaking. When you look at yourself, even, stand in front of the mirror and you look at yourself, even just for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, there's sort of this beautiful performance that you're doing. Looking at yourself, looking into your own eyes, you would realize so many things, so many vacancies, so many voids in yourself that you can fill yourself. You don't need anyone else. And that's when I got my power back. I had a conversation with my creator. There was a moment where I just did wazoo and I started praying, and I don't know what I was praying about. I didn't follow a set pattern. I didn't follow the rules and the tariqa kar of praying. I was just there. I was crying. I was emotional, and I let it all out. And I did not pray for power. I did not pray for any sort of authority. I just wanted to feel light. The lightness of being. I wanted to feel that. Why is it that I'm constantly feeling heavy? What is it that I'm carrying on my shoulders? So it just began with basic realization that I need to be there for myself. I need to be there to nurture myself, to empower myself, to listen to myself. So that's where it all started from. And even now, if I may sound like, I have my life sorted and I have no worries in my life. No, that's absolutely wrong. I do have low moments in life. I do have doubts about myself, but I'm still learning.
You give
And
yourself that space of learning.
yes, I'm making mistakes. I'm learning from those mistakes. I'm enjoying those mistakes. And I'm not being apologetic about it. So these are the simple basic ingredients which we are taught of, how they're so impossible to do, or it requires a lot of effort to do these things. That's absolutely wrong. So it does take a lot of effort. The head start takes a lot of effort.
Yeah.
You have to break the mold, step out from the world you're comfortably living in. Sometimes
Yeah.
people, they enjoy living in their own miseries, you know.
Yeah.
They enjoy the sadness, they enjoy carrying this personality which is heavy and, you know, morose and dark and tragic, because they feel like, oh, you know, there's meaning to it. No. it's just it's just making the other person around you feel negative about themselves.
Yeah,
So
you're being there's an element of toxicity that could be
exactly,
toxic for other people.
overwhelm ho jata hai banda bahut zyada. So just, you know, let go of those things and enjoy the lightness.
Mm. So, Alina, after having the clarity that with which you are as
Mm,
of right now, being able to analyze yourself, your journey, your life so far,
mm.
and in the line of work that you are in, of being an artist, with this clarity now, do you think you're able to see your line of work? And is there anything that makes you worry about your line of work?
Not at all.
Hmm.
Not at all. I'm very confident about my line of work. I've been teaching, and I've been confidently teaching. I've been enjoying, because I listen to my students as friends.
Hmm.
I give what I have. And about my work, that's my work. That's I've given birth to it. I create it.
Hmm.
And I'm so happily confident about it. It
Hmm.
gives me power, it gives me joy, it gives me relaxation. Why would I not be certain about it? I am.
Hmm.
I used to, you know, worry about not being in the league, or not being in the social circle where the names keep popping up in the exhibitions or the shows, or in, you know,
Hmm.
in the limelight, or in the highlights of the feeds. But I'm absolutely happy with my own space.
Hmm.
I'm happy with my little studio gallery. I'm happy with my painted walls. I'm happy with my paper and my stationery around me. I'm happy with my uh, uh, objects of possession, you know.
Hmm.
I enjoy it. I love it. I can do whatever I want, anytime, anywhere. So
Hmm.
I don't need to belong to a particular space, to a particular place, or under a banner, or in a lobby, or in a group to represent myself. I am myself.
Hmm.
And that gives me so much joy, Natasha, when you realize that you have something that truly belongs to you, and you have
Hmm.
spent so many years, so many moments of cries and hard work, sweat and blood, and that thing belongs to you, no one else.
Hmm.
I mean, the amount of energy it gives you, it's inexplicable.
Hmm.
And so I let go of that insecurity. I let go of that uncertainty of, you know, uh, being, you know, what if I'm powerless, what if I lose it, what if I'm out of practice. No, it's never
Hmm.
too late to learn again what you learned before. It's never too late to unlearn and learn new things.
Right.
So just enjoy it, because when you lose such a dear person in your life, and when you experience loss, and when you experience absence, in your mature age, where you understand the intensity of emotions in life, you realize how short this life is.
Hmm.
You realize how important it is to enjoy every day as it is, you know. Even if it was boring, even if it didn't work out according to your plan, even if it was bland or colorless, just be grateful. It
Hmm.
all starts from the gratitude. It always does. I
Hmm.
mean, you wake up, or you, in the middle of the day, you just stop and just say, I'm so grateful for this air conditioner. I'm so grateful for hot water. I'm so grateful for, you know, this beautiful pillow that I have. You know, these little things. And it's a practice, because we're not trained to do this
Hmm.
in this society
So
where we live in. We're not trained to be grateful.
that's true. That's true.
So
And I think there is a certain um sort of a battle that you're sort of fighting all the time within
all the
yourself
time.
of trying to be positive. And I think for you, you've sort of mastered or on the journey or path of mastering it. So as an artist, we all step out as creative
Hmm.
people. As much as we enjoy the space in our studio, there is an
Hmm.
element of engaging, with
Yes.
coming outside of that studio space that is such a magical and a private and intimate environment, but then you come out of the world and out of that
Hmm.
space into the world.
Hmm.
And as an artist, how do you navigate your relationships with your contemporaries, and how do you feel that you're seen, or how do you feel spoken to, and how do you navigate that space that is outside of this comfort zone?
Just by communicating, reaching out. Sometimes we're so, I don't know, I'm speaking out of my own experience. We feel so intimidated sometimes that we don't reach out to people. I mean, if I like someone's work, and if that person is a senior artist or a senior person, I would hesitate first because,
Hmm.
oh, wo senior hai. They, I don't know if they would read my message or not. I don't know if they would respond to my email or not. And in the middle of that contemplation, should I talk or should I not talk? We just let go of that urge to communicate. I realize it's really important to communicate. Just drop in a message, just send a text or email, or just call the person.
Hmm.
Communicate with them, with your peers, with the people you once worked with. Just send them a message and just ask them how they are.
Hmm.
Because before being an artist, they all are human beings. We all are human beings. We like being in touch. We like it, if someone asks us how we are, even if that person is of no importance in our life or significance. Oh, I've एक मर्तबा मुलाकात हुई थी तो उन्होंने क्यों भाई वो what's this ego?
Hmm.
I mean, just start a nice casual conversation. Hey, how are you? What's up? What's going on in life? Tell me about your life, where you are in life, what's happening. I mean, just check upon people, not just friends, but people who are in your friend list who you have never spoken to, you've never spoken with. And in during those conversations, while carrying that chat, you may talk about any future artistic collaboration or endeavors you think about. So it's just, you need to be very open about your communication. Just speak up. Why
Hmm.
are we holding our words back? Why are we not being vocal about it? What's wrong?
Hmm. Yeah.
And in
And
the and another thing is, just share your process. What is this insecurity about hiding your process, about your practice, or about your life, or how your life is going and how your studio practice is going? What is this hide and seek going on? And I mean, one thing that I've realized and that has had me heartbroken, I've had so many people in my life. I wouldn't now label them as friends because obviously those things change and they alter with time when they uh, expose their true selves. Is that, when you ask them, hey, what's up? How is it going, during the pandemic or even before the pandemic? How's it going? Is there any opportunity that I may help in, or, I could just remember me, sort of trying to reach out or trying to ask for help in decent way. And then the other person would say, no, nothing's going on really, there's nothing going on. And then in a couple of weeks you see the person's name on a big ass banner with the big accolade, with the big achievement.
hmm.
And throughout that course you realize, why is that person hiding it from me?
Hmm.
I would have learned so much from that process. I would have enjoyed the process. I would have, uh, um, I would have had something new to think about in life. That's what art is all about, isn't it? All the genres, all the things that are connected to art. And people are so insecure about it. They're so, I don't know. They just want to keep hiding things. Oh, nazar lag jayegi, bhai.
Hmm.
क्या नजर लगनी है? The other person is not going to take away your brain or your mind, right? So I realized, that people started hiding things, or shielding their ideas to an extent where they'd start lying about it.
Hmm. Why do you think that is the case, though?
I don't know. Maybe perhaps they have this fear that their ideas will be stolen away, or there will be plagiarism, which exists, which does exist. But nobody has the power to take away the genius that you have. I mean, whatever you've done in your life, whatever idea that comes into your mind has already been done. How do you personalize it? How do you customize? How do you make it your own? Is where your creative sensibility lies. And I think, unfortunately, the or the society that we have has this inbuilt nature of hiding things all the time from everyone. I'm primarily the reason is culturally, oh, हर चीज में नजर लग जानी है, don't show this, इसमें नजर लग जाएगी, don't show that, oh, वो idea वो ले लेगा. Let go of these leashes, let go of these fears.
Yeah.
And that is what bothered me a lot, and that is what sort of uh, made me discard so many friendships in life. I filtered them out of my life. I was like, my sister usually says, Alina, why do you keep unfriending people from your list or unfollowing people from Instagram? I'm like, because I just don't like the energy anymore. It's not healthy for me. They're hiding things. It's evident they're hiding things. I mean, what is this? What is this?
Yeah.
So I don't want to surround myself with things that make me unhealthy mentally.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong in that. If someone who loves you, who adores you, who wants to be in your life or wants to keep you in their lives, would put in effort, and it's going to be beautifully effortless.
Yeah.
आपको आपको उसके लिए जान नहीं मारनी पड़ेगी, or you don't have to chase that person. That person is going to be there. So,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong in unfollowing or unfriending people from your life. And I don't care if they don't like it or they feel like I'm such a bad person for doing that. But it's just that I'm keeping my environment healthy. I'm just keeping my visuals healthy. I just don't want to be in that space where I keep doubting, oh, have I done something? Is the reason why that person is not telling me something or not sharing this or sharing that? So that's what it is.
Yeah, it makes me really think of a lot of times in life where we come across relationships that we don't know are toxic for us, or or continue to be in toxic relationships, and don't really understand or have that clarity that this relationship, whatever that it might be, is bad for me.
Yeah.
So how did you get the courage to detach yourself from, because it can be hard a lot of times, there's this other voice in you that's holding you back from cutting the cord, and you sort of give in and you keep on giving in, and a lot of times people just keep on giving other people chances. So how would you identify that moment of courage that you felt that this is it, and I'm just going to liberate myself or free myself from this person?
It varies from person to person, Natasha, really. In my case, I started feeling paralyzed. I felt like, my senses aren't working any longer. I mean, I wouldn't be comfortable in articulating my emotions. I wouldn't want to move. I wouldn't want to, I didn't like going out. I would just spend my time in my room, in my space, doing nothing, absolutely nothing at all. Just scrolling on Instagram and just feeding my anxiety and feeding my fear over and over again. And that's when I realized this is not healthy at all. I'm it's just I'm losing my mental health. And it took a lot of courage, but it took a lot of time also. A lot of it's just like you just enjoy your own company. You start just sitting alone. You just start realizing, where did I go wrong? And then in the end, in somewhere in the middle, you just realize you never did any wrong to anyone. You were doing wrong to yourself all along. And I don't know where that courage came from. I think from all the prayers, from all the endless hours of uh, meditation, sitting on the Jainamas, or just, random conversations with God, and yeah, just that. Because there are moments where you wouldn't want to talk with your best friend, or your spouse or anyone. It's just you, in your solitude, in that moment of isolation where you don't have any physical company. It's just those simple words that you say to yourself, they give you a lot of courage and power. It's just uttering those words from your mouth. What I used to do was, I mean, it may sound like, I'm quoting from some textbook, you know life help or self help books, but this is actually what I did. I would start talking to myself as my friend, as my own friend. It's okay, Alina. Ho jayega. Don't worry about it. Let go of this. It is okay. It's absolutely fine. Go get yourself a nice chilled pakola ka bottle. Go, enjoy a nice chocolate cupcake. Relax. Go out for a drive. Okay. Call this person. Ask them who they are, how they are. Just these little basic things, and they give you energy, and they give you this sense of relief. There's no formula to it. You have to carve it your own self, the ways that make you comfortable, that do not put you under a lot of pressure, that do not make you think 10 times about the practice. Oh, do I have to do this again tomorrow to feel better? You know to make things so lethargic, and to so burdensome. So it just comes with time, it just comes with space, and with energy, how much you allow your energy into it. If you're not doing it, if you're not willing to do it, nothing will happen.
Right.
So it's just that. And it, another thing, the opinions and suggestions and advices that we get from our friends or from family around us, sometimes um they don't sound so well to you sometimes. So try not to discuss those things, over and over again. Just sometimes just keep it to yourself, enjoy the silence, and try to find answers within yourself. And I'm not saying it's a bad practice, or you have to, for every problem, for every mistake, for every emotion, you have to go to someone and talk to someone. And sometimes it's good to just be quiet. you know Sometimes it's good to just be with yourself, give time to yourself, instead of seeking something from someone else and following their suggestions all the time, because that's what I realized I'd been doing all my life. अच्छा मुझे बताओ मैंने क्या करना है यार, अच्छा मुझे बताओ मैं क्या करूं. Why am I not able to listen to myself and tell myself what I'm able to do? So I think that's where the courage is a relative thing. It comes from the most unexpected areas, the most unexpected moments. And I think the more spiritually charged you are, active you are, it helps you even more, because everything around us is temporary. We can't we Nothing that we touch or we own or that belongs to us is permanent. So once you realize that, you become instantly free of so many insecurities and anxieties. It's okay, I have something to look forward to now. And I'm just a tiny speck of dust in this huge universe. And I should not feed my ego with so many ideas. That's where it all starts from. I mean, I'm so grateful. I'm blessed with so many abilities which nobody, other people don't have. The way I think, the other person doesn't have the ability to think the way I think or the way I create. I'm unique, I'm bold, and I'm confident, and I'm grateful for that. So, again, I think this is the 100th time I've spoken in this interview, this talk. Start with gratitude. Just enjoy the meaning of being grateful. And then everything it's going to give you courage, it's going to give you a beautiful voice, it's going to give you energy, it's going to give you that sense of calm. It'll just make your life much more easy.
So I guess you've already answered this, I believe, but what would you say now to your younger self, to that Alina who was just running from door to door and trying to find things, and there was
Mm,
anxiety and overambitiousness and
mm.
restlessness? What would you tell her, if there's one thing you could tell her?
Two things. uh, you're beautiful. You don't have to. Your your complexion is beautiful. The way you look is beautiful, and no matter what they say about you, the way you look, because I've had a childhood filled with body shaming, with bullying, not in just my personal sphere, but also in my academic sphere also. Um, I still have the horrors from my childhood, which still give me stress, which still give me these flashes of trauma, which I'm still dealing with. But I've learned how to face them now. Um, have being a dark skinned person in the society, it's not an easy thing. And now people are accepting it. Now people are being vocal about it. But back in my time, I had to struggle a lot. My mother had to struggle a lot. And the only force of energy, the only force of motivation was my mother all along. In my family, in my school, people never used to be friends with me because I looked a certain way. Oh, I my skin looked a certain way, and my hair looked a certain way, and you know, I didn't fall in the category of, oh, wo bachchi badi pyari hai, and it was projected towards me, that I have faults in my parents, and as if it was all in my control, and it was embedded in me so much that the confidence was taken away from me. Um, and the fear of not being friends was constantly being fed, and I had to struggle with those things all along my life. And so to my younger self, I just say, you are beautiful the way you are. You are a complete human being, and you don't need anyone's justification or validation to prove how beautiful you are. Allah has created you, and you have all the beautiful senses. You have all the right to love yourself, and in the process of loving yourself, learn to say no. That's something that I wish I had been told when I was little, and when I was in my growing ages, growing times. I have the liberty to say no to all those moments where I could have said no, had been taken advantages of. So these two things, and I still say these things. I still encourage my sisters. I have two beautiful little sisters in my family. I have younger people, and I just constantly encourage them. I tell them, you're beautiful the way you are. Don't worry about your weight. Don't worry about your hair fall. Don't worry about the acne on your forehead. It's okay. Hormonal hai, theek ho jayega. Don't worry. Just be confident, and let go of these things. You're just wasting your time polishing yourself just for other people's beauty standards. Don't do that. It's not worth it. And that's it. That's what I would like to say to my younger self.
You are beautiful, Alina, and it has been a pleasure to hear you, and it's just really empowering and an enriching conversation, and there's a lot for me to think of, and I think reflect on my own life and my own insecurities and journey as a woman, as a wife, as a friend, as an artist. And thank you so much for sharing and opening up and trusting me with so much about your life and about your journey. Is there any parting thoughts that you have that you'd like to share, or anything that you'd like to just say?
Natasha, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to express what I wanted to express for so long. I mean, you crave for opportunities, you crave for moments where you just want to let out your deepest, most intimate reflections on life. I just want this conversation or whatever I've talked about to empower me, to empower myself. I definitely listen to it again and again on days when I'd feel low or feel less confident, because I'm the marker of my own achievements or my own confidence or my own identity. And no one else can assist me or, help me become a better person than myself first. So I hope it helps uh, give a little insight towards life. I mean, there's so many things I've spoken about which may sound cliched or talked about so many times, but
It was all my pleasure, and
thank
I
you.
love listening to everything that you said, and I think there's so much to absorb and so much to think of. So it was my pleasure, and thank you once again for taking out the time. And I'm
Pleasure's
really,
all
really
mine.
excited to see all that you do with this new Alina. and
Yes.
at some point to meet you again and to share more and talk about. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a presentation by House Ltd. I hope you will listen, follow, rate, and review all our episodes, which are available free on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Anchor, Pocket Casts, and the official House Ltd YouTube channel.